Tonight I want to ask you a question. Not a philosophical question. Not something to think about tomorrow. Right now. As you listen, the question is this. Do you know who you are? Not your name, not your job, not the version of yourself you explain to people when they ask what you do. I mean something much deeper. Do you know who you actually are? Because I can tell you something from many years of teaching this law. The people who struggle with manifestation, they almost always make the same mistake. It is not technique. It is identity. They're trying to change their life before discovering who they are. And once you see what I mean by this, something very interesting begins to happen. The entire struggle with manifestation starts to dissolve. So let's begin with something simple. You have a name. Someone gave it to you. Your parents, perhaps. Maybe it came from a family tradition. Maybe it was written on a birth certificate before you ever had a say in the matter. But notice something. You do not say, I am my name. You say, my name is my name. The name belongs to you, but it is not you. Now look at your body. This physical form you move through the world with. The hands that lift things. The face you see in the mirror every morning. Again, notice the language. You say, my hand, my face, my body. You possess it. But you are not it. And here is the interesting question. If the name is not you, and the body is not you, then who is the one saying my? Who is the one doing the possessing? That question is the doorway to everything I have ever tried to teach. Now at this point, someone usually says to me, Neville, I understand this already. I know I am more than the body. And perhaps intellectually you do. But knowing something as an idea and feeling it as a living fact are two very different things. Most people say they are more than the body. And then something happens in the outer world. A bill arrives. A relationship goes wrong. A circumstance appears that says this is who you are and this is your limit. And suddenly they feel small again. Why? Because the one reacting still believes they are the name and the body, not the awareness behind them. So let us look at that awareness. Think about yourself as a child. Before the world had much time to tell you what you are supposed to be, before teachers and relatives and circumstances began handing you their opinions about life, that child had awareness. That child was conscious. Now come forward to this moment. Different body, different beliefs perhaps, different experiences. But something has been present through all of it. Something has watched every chapter of your life unfold. That presence has no age. It was there when you were 5. It is here now. It has no nationality, no past failure attached to it, no limitation placed upon it by circumstance. It simply is. That presence is what I call I am. Now this is where people often misunderstand the teaching. I am is not a phrase. It is not an affirmation. It is not a technique. It is a name. In the Bible, Moses asked the question. He said, when they ask who sent me, what shall I say? And the answer came back, I am that I am. Tell them, I am sent you. not a title, a name. The name of the creative power behind all things. And here is the part most people miss. That power is not somewhere outside of you. You are not petitioning it. You are not hoping it listens. It is what you are. Every time you say, I am, you're using that name. And what follows those words becomes a decree. I am tired. I am unlucky. I am the kind of person this never works for. The creative power within you hears that and simply says, so be it. Now you might hear this and feel excited, or you might feel a little resistant. You might say, if that is true, Neville, why does my life look the way it does? That is the correct question. And the answer is surprisingly simple. You have been imagining, just not consciously. From the moment you entered this world, you were absorbing, not choosing, absorbing the beliefs of the people around you, their fears, their expectations, their ideas about money, their ideas about love, their ideas about what someone like you could expect from life. You absorb these things the way a fish absorbs water. You didn't question them. You simply live inside them. And those ideas became images in your imagination. Images about who you are. Images about what life is. Images about what is possible. And the subconscious mind accepted those images as fact, not because they were true, but because they were felt. So the world began to organize itself around those assumptions. And when events appeared that matched those assumptions, you reacted to them. You said, see, I knew it. And without realizing it, you voted for that version of reality again. This is why many people feel trapped by circumstances. They think the world is happening to them, but something else is happening. The world is reflecting them. The reactions they feel toward life are not passive. They are creative acts. Every reaction is a vote. Every feeling is a decree. And the subconscious faithfully builds more of whatever you confirm. Now here is the empowering part. If unconscious imagining built the old world, conscious imagining can build a new one. You are not fighting circumstances. You are changing the state from which you meet them. But here is where most people go wrong again. They think they must force belief. They repeat affirmations all day long. They try to convince themselves. They struggle. That is not assumption. Assumption is much simpler. To assume means to put something on, like a garment. You put it on and wear it. You do not argue your way into it. You simply accept it as true of yourself now. The person who has already received the answer to their prayer does not walk around trying to believe it. They simply live from it. They think from it. They feel from it. It becomes natural. And when the inner state changes, the outer world has no choice but to follow. Because the outer world is not the cause. It is the echo. Now I want you to notice something important. When I ask you to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, I am not asking you to pretend. I am asking you to remember. Remember who you actually are. Because the greatest illusion you have ever accepted is the belief that you are small, that you are limited, that you are defined by past circumstances. Those are roles you learn to play, but the one playing them is still I am. And I am has never been limited, never been powerless, never been separate from the creative force of life. That power is your awareness itself. So the real shift is not becoming something new. It is dropping the identity you were never meant to carry. Beneath the name, beneath the body, beneath the story, there is a presence. It is calm. It is not anxious. It does not strive. It does not wait for permission. It simply knows itself as be. That presence is you, not the struggling self, not the worried self, the real self. I am. And the moment you recognize this, everything begins to change. Because now your imagination is no longer a tool you occasionally try to use. It is the activity of the power you are. You no longer approach life as someone trying to make something happen. You approach life as the one from whom everything happens. And from that understanding, a very simple practice emerges. Watch what follows the words, I am. Because whatever follows, you are giving life to. So instead of repeating old conclusions, choose a new state. I am free. I am secure. I am the one for whom things work out. Not as a hopeful statement, but as recognition. Recognition of the power speaking those words. You do not need to become I am. You already are. You only need to stop pretending that you are something less. And from that recognition, the world begins to rearrange itself quietly, naturally, inevitably. Because the one imagining is the one creating, and that one is you. Not the name, not the body. The awareness that is hearing these words right now. The presence that has been here to every moment of your life. That presence is I am. And once you know that, truly know it, something very simple becomes possible. You no longer try to change the world. You simply choose who you are within it. And the world reflects that choice. So tonight, remember this. You are not searching for power. You are the power. You are I am. And from that knowing, everything begins.